viewers. Welcome back to my series, Professional Video Production on a Shoestring Budget. Today I want to talk about the GoPro Hero Black 7, and in the first half of the video I'm going to talk about what I don't like about it, and I'll be comparing it to my old Sony AS 15 that I got in 2014. In the second half of the video I'm going to talk about what I do like about it, and there's lots to like. I'm not going to get into a lot of tech spec, geek speak. All that info's out there on the internet. This will just be a good overview. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that bothered me about this camera, I'm getting used to it, but it still sometimes is annoying, is the menu, the touchscreen menu. It's very sensitive, and sometimes it'll lock up on you, and I suspect that's because people are flying around too fast, and and it'll lock up. My understanding is that 10 seconds on the function button and it'll unfreeze. But anyway, I've found it annoying. I'll be shooting and I'll stop shooting, and then I'll resume. I'll be shooting another shot, and it will have switched over to the 30-second record feature, which I think is one of the stupidest features I've ever seen on a video camera. And it'll just do that on its own, just because I've looked at it, and I find that really annoying. Of course, you can lock it, you can lock the screen, but whoops. So you can lock it, but once you've done that, you've lost your zoom feature, and I really like that zoom feature. It's actually one of the reasons that I got this camera, was for the zoom. My old Sony, of course, doesn't have that. I know some of the newer ones do, some of the newer models, but my old Sony doesn't have it. Once you've locked it out, you have to go into the preference menu and unlock it there as well to get it unlocked. So just be aware of that. As I said, it can just be kind of annoying. It's very sensitive, and it can just be kind of annoying. Of course, this little camera has a lot of features. There's a lot of things you can do with it, and there's a lot of settings that you can get into. It's a very powerful little camera. You can go in your camera, you can set your frames per second and things like that. So it's got a lot of things that you can set on it. I just find it's a bit annoying. So as I'm getting used to it, what I do is I try to be very methodical, and I move slowly on as I'm making choices, and it works. But it will lock up on you if you're going too fast. Now, comparing that to my old Sony, it's got an old style menu, and I hear people complaining about that, in particular about the GoPro Fusion. They don't like that old style menu. But what I found with this was that once I got used to it and I learned how to navigate it, was that it was just so easy to work with. Once you made a setting and you chose it, and once you selected that setting, it was locked in, dialed in. You don't have to worry about it jumping around or changing on you. And so I really like that. I really prefer that old style menu. One of my biggest gripes with this little camera is that you'll charge the battery, check it, battery's got a full charge, and you put it down for a few days, and you go to use it, you go to fire it up, and it's dead. The battery's dead. And I've heard lots of other people complain about this on YouTube and social media. And of course, the GoPro guys get out there and go, well, you've got to shut your Wi-Fi off. That's your problem. Well, I'll tell you, here's what I've got shut off in this camera. Besides my Wi-Fi, I've also turned off voice command, which they say is a bad one for draining batteries. Quick capture, wireless, GPS. I turned the touch display down, the brightness down a little bit, and it'll still happen. I find that really annoying. You pick your camera up and there's a shot, and it's dead. So spare batteries with this are a must. Online, I got a couple of batteries and a charger for $20. So it's a must. You have to have spare batteries with this because, and I'm not the only one that complains about this, it will drain the battery. Staying with batteries, if you're going to do long time lapse with this, and that's one of the reasons I bought it, because I really get a kick. I really enjoy the daytime to nighttime time lapse. I think it's a real powerful little feature, and it's a neat tool to have in your toolkit. If you leave the internal battery in, what'll happen, if you leave that internal battery in and you've got an external battery pack plugged in to give you more time, you'll find the GoPro shuts off in 2 to 3 hours. And that's because it's overheating. And I suspect that's because they've designed this tight little waterproof camera and the heat from the battery can't dissipate. So if you want to do a long time lapse, daytime to nighttime, etc., take that internal battery out. The other thing that bugs me about this GoPro, if you want to use your GoPro cage and you want to plug in an external battery, you have to take this door off. And, and this just looks so breakable. And of course the parts, I think $30. And it just seems to me like it's a bit of a racket on the part of GoPro to get some more money out of you. Because that looks really breakable. I know it clips on there, but I haven't even taken mine off yet. It just looks so breakable. Speaking of breakable, if you want to use an underwater housing or some of the ND filters, you have to take the lens cover off. And this is another thing to me that just looks so breakable. I've seen guys take these off on YouTube videos, and they're tugging on it and they're pulling on it, and it just, I haven't even taken mine off yet. And as a sidebar, the newer GoPros, I think starting with the 8, this doesn't come off anymore. And I suspect it's because a lot of people were breaking them and complaining, and so they've discontinued that. If you want to get ND filters, and I highly recommend them, they're a good tool to have in your kit. These Telesin filters are nice. These are a nice filter, and they're not very expensive. And they clip right on top of your lens here without having to take that lens cover off. So I highly recommend that. I've got a link to a YouTube video up here that I did on the Telesin NDs, and I explain what they do. So if you don't know what ND filters are for and what they do, check out that link. They're handy, they're important things to have in your kit, and you should actually understand what they do and why you need to have them. I guess I should introduce my assistants here. This is APOC, and I don't know if you can see her over here. That's her daughter, Chloe. Okay, APOC. So let's get into what I like about this camera. And like I said, there's lots to like. The thing that really sold me on this camera, the two things was the stabilization and the time lapse, where you could set it up and go from daytime sunset to a nighttime time lapse, which is a really cool thing. I'll put a video up here that show one of the time lapses that I've done with this camera. The stabilization feature on this camera, to me, is just mind-blowing. You're talking about a cameraman that's been doing this with professional gear since 1980, and I can't believe how powerful this stabilization is. I'm going to put a side-by-side comparison up here between the Sony and the GoPro. I wanted to do that so you could see the difference. I'm sure the new Sonys are much better. My Sony AS 15 that I got in 2014, I think comparable model would be the AS 50, and they're I think $249. But you can spend a lot more money on a Sony action cam, and I'm sure they have a lot more features. We're going to talk about that a bit more in a sec here. But yeah, so those two features with the GoPro really blew me away. Okay, let's try a bit of running. Another feature with the GoPro that I think really puts it head and tails above my Sony is the Pro Tunes feature. And you'll find that in your settings there, you'll find Pro Tunes. And this is really powerful. This is a really important feature if you're a professional and you have a professional editing program where you can adjust your blacks and your whites and your colors. The Pro Tune files are raw files. They're large raw files that have a lot of latitude for adjusting. So if you're a pro, or even if you're not a pro, learn about that and the difference between, what you can do with a raw file or with the Pro Tunes off and the differences. So it's that feature really puts this, it really puts that head and tails above the Sony. It's a very professional, powerful feature. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the waterproofing. This is advertised as waterproof, which is pretty impressive. You can just jump in the water and you don't have to worry about it. With the Sony, of course, I had to use the waterproof housing, and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm sure it is waterproof, but I'm a little bit hesitant because this is all plastic and rubber rubber on the ceiling connectors here. And it just seems to me like that's something that over time could easily wear out and maybe make it not so much waterproof anymore. So I'm going to stick with my Sony and the underproof housing. But what I do like with it being waterproof is I'm sure I can put this out when it's raining or snowing on my tripod, and if I want to do a quick time lapse or something. And I shouldn't have to worry about it. I know it's going to be at least water resistant and it's not going to hurt the camera. So that's really cool. I really like that. One of the other things I really liked about this was the zoom feature. It's only about a 50% zoom, but that's nice. It's better than nothing. And again, with the Sony, I think with the new Sonys now, I think they have a Sony with a Zeiss icon that will give you a 20 times zoom. That's an electronic zoom, but it might be a feature, a 20 times zoom compared to this zoom that you might want. So check that out. So in 2014, I paid $115 for my Sony with a 1-year warranty, refurbished with a full warranty for 1 year. And a couple of years ago, I guess last year, I paid $400 for my GoPro Hero Black 7. The Hero Black 8s are out. That's why I got it for a little bit less money. And of course, this is a much better camera. I'm going to keep this one, but this is a much more powerful professional camera. But when I bought the GoPro, I kind of didn't really do my research. I saw the stabilization demos and the time-lapse demos, and I just kind of went, oh, I got to have one of those, which of course you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to go on YouTube and do some research and look at some videos, and because all that's there for you. What I suggest you do, if you're looking at the GoPro, is do some research. Look at the Sonys. This Sony camera for me has just been rock solid. It's never let me down. It's been a great camera. I'm a Sony guy. Sony just makes great products. So before you jump into the GoPro, go online and research the Sony and do some comparisons and see what people are saying about the Sonys and check those out, because you might find, well, maybe I'm going to go with the Sony. So check that out. Okay, everybody. So I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. All in all, great little camera, very powerful. As I said, I've been shooting with professional gear since 1980, and just what you can do with these little things just boggles the mind. It absolutely blows me away. I still have a good camera for my main workhorse camera, but this is great to have in your pocket. I really love it. So thanks for watching. Check out my YouTube channel and my some of my other videos. My YouTube channel is very eclectic. Check out my playlist, professional video production on a shoestring budget. You'll find lots of gear reviews, as well as tech tips and other things there. So check that out, and check out my YouTube channel. It's very eclectic. You'll find documentaries and lifestyle vignettes featuring the people and the places of Vancouver Island, which is a really cool place. So cheers and thanks for watching. See you next time. Thanks, APOC.